Well, we're back again with yet another no-fluff analysis for Genshin Impact. This time let's go over the Traveler's Anemo skillset. The Traveler is unique in that they use a unique material for their ascensions, as well as their constellations being unlocked through various rewards from adventure rank progression, quests, and shops. The Traveler is easily overlooked due to being a completely free character. So let's cut the fluff and get straight to it. The Traveler has a standard sword combo really, there's nothing particularly remarkable about the standard string or the charged attack. The Traveler's elemental skill is Palm Vortex, which deals small hits ending with a larger burst AoE. Holding the skill causes more smaller hits as well as scaling up the final damage over time. This skill can also absorb elements, causing additional damage of that type. Palm Vortex can have a 5 to 8 second cooldown based on the duration it's held for. The Traveler's elemental burst is Gust Surge, which summons a forward-moving tornado that pulls enemies in, dealing continuous Anemo damage. It can absorb elements, dealing additional damage of that type. This burst has a 15-second cooldown and costs 60 energy to use. The Traveler's first passive talent is Slitting Wind. The last hit of the normal attack string unleashes a projectile blade that travels in a line, dealing Anemo damage. The Traveler's second passive talent is Second Wind. Palm Vortex kills grant 2% hit point regeneration for 5 seconds, with a 5-second cooldown between activations. Unlike most characters, the Traveler doesn't have a domestic talent, so we'll move on to the Constellations. The first of which is Raging Vortex. Palm Vortex will pull in enemies within a 5-meter radius while it's being cast. The second constellation is Uprising Whirlwind, which increases energy recharge by 16%. The Traveler's third constellation is Sweeping Gust, which is a simple 3-level increase to Gust Surge to a maximum of 15. The fourth constellation is Cherishing Breezes, which reduces the damage taken while casting Palm Vortex by 10%. Constellation number 5 is Vortex Stellaris, a 3-level increase to Palm Vortex to, again, a maximum of 15. The sixth and final constellation is Intertwined Winds. Gust Surge reduces the Anemo resist of all targets by 20%. If Gust Surge absorbed an element, the corresponding resistance is also reduced by 20%. So currently, Anemo characters are typically used in conjunction with the Viridescent Venera artifact set to reduce elemental resistances and greatly boost the damage of other characters. This mostly puts the Traveler in a support role, utilising Palm Vortex and Gust Surge to swirl and cause extra reactions while we're at it. Palm Vortex is especially effective at this due to its ability to be held and also draw enemies in. So long as it's somewhat safe to do so, holding Palm Vortex in a group of enemies afflicted with 2 or more elements can be incredibly destructive. Compared to the kits of other support-oriented Anemo characters such as Venti and Sucrose, however, the Traveler's Palm Vortex puts them in a vulnerable point-blank position, so some defensive support such as Geo Shields or Noelle Shield might be required once you start to deal with more powerful enemies. The Traveler's elemental burst, Gust Surge, is fairly powerful by itself. However, its ability to pick up and drag enemies along with it as it moves can actually hinder your ability to deal continuous damage, requiring you to chase down the tornado to do so. This can be counteracted, however, by using it against a wall or even against one of the pillars of Ningguang's Jade Screen. The passive talents don't add too much overall unless you're attempting to use Anemo Traveler as your main DPS. In terms of constellations, there is some utility in the ability to draw enemies in with Palm Vortex, and quite a lot more utility in the final constellation granting resistance reduction. At the very least, this can be done without having to summon, only requiring some levels and story progression. In terms of support capability, Anemo Traveler is typically replaced by Venti even at 0 constellations, while I think Sucrose actually requires quite a few constellations to match Traveler in utility due to a much longer cooldown for her elemental skill. Overall, Anemo Traveler has decent potential just due to the fact that Anemo units can add a lot to a team's potential damage. The Traveler is well equipped to deal with groups of enemies and at the very least can somewhat help against larger enemies with res reduction. The Traveler's burst isn't quite as effective against larger enemies due to the inability to pick them up, and will often simply travel through the enemy instead unless you manipulate it with walls or structures. In the end, most of the Traveler's power is in their support ability and ability to swirl elements for chain reactions and res reduction. This should find a place in most teams until the Traveler ends up replaced by a sufficiently built Sucrose or Venti. Players opting not to spend any money will find themselves getting quite a lot of mileage out of the Traveler. PS4 players specifically received a sword with a unique strength bonus for the Traveler, making them even more effective. All in all, the Traveler is a decent choice for investment if you're lacking other Anemo options, and uses materials acquired in a unique manner as well, not specifically requiring resin usage. In terms of combat utility, I think the Traveler is a lot more effective as an Anemo unit, but the Geo puzzles in Liyue have me swapping all the time anyway. How about your experience? Have you found yourself using the Traveler a lot, or are they benched in favour of your other characters? As always, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.